The world's most advanced nation, the place discussing how AI will change the future, has hundreds of thousands of citizens using their cars as bedrooms every night. This isn't some lifestyle experiment. It's a raw survival struggle. Official data is shocking. The homeless population exploded 18% in a single year. What's more chilling is that this surge comes mainly from people who look normal. They clock in on time, pay taxes, work hard to maintain respectability. The only difference, after work, they don't go home. They return to a car parked in some corner. America right now, rent spiraling out of control, wages crawling at a snail's pace. A new court ruling lets cities drive out people sleeping on the streets, so people moved from tents into car seats. This is 2025, a nation that's stuffed home under the hood. The question has evolved from how many people are forced to live in cars to why does a superpower allow this phenomenon? Let me break down 5 dimensions to explain why cars are becoming the new symbol of America's crisis. Dimension 1. The housing economy out of control. Let's do the math and see just how absurd America's cost of living has become. In 2025, a one-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles runs $2,800 a month. New York tops $4,000. That's enough to finance 2 used cars. Meanwhile, average U.S. wage growth is under 4% annually. Rent is rising 5 times faster than income. Research shows precisely, for every $100 increase in average rent, homelessness jumps 9%. Every minor adjustment in the housing market pushes another batch of people toward the cliff edge. Once stable middle-class folks are now paying off debt in car seats, sleep debt, life debt, dignity debt. The role of cars has undergone an epic transformation. Used to represent freedom, now they're the last fortress against wind and rain. People's logic has shifted. It's not earn money to buy a car. It's you need a car to get to work. The steering wheel doesn't point toward distant horizons. It points toward escaping the landlord's demands. A Bay Area programmer says, 3 of us sharing a place. Landlord raised it $400. We all have jobs, but facing that number, I chose to leave. Now my 2010 Honda Accord is my studio. At least its landlord doesn't raise rent. This isn't an isolated case. It's a harbinger of systemic collapse. When the American dream can only fit in a car's storage compartment, economic logic has twisted into absurdity. The joke became real. In America now, people with private garages are wealthy, people living in garages are middle class, and people living in cars are new age nomads. The core question isn't why not rent? It's why does a country with massive numbers of empty homes force working people to convert their cars into sleeping pods? Dimension 2. The invisible population beyond statistics. Here's the brutal irony. Many of America's homeless aren't homeless. They have roofs, metal car roofs. Over 250,000 people curl up in seats every night, in warehouse corners, next to gas stations, in the cracks of cities. The growth rate is faster than inflation. Official Los Angeles survey. Car dwellers make up the highest proportion of unsheltered homeless, surpassing tent dwellers. Garages become temporary motels. Walmart parking lots become free campgrounds. Park parking spots become studio apartments. Why not go to shelters? Reality is simple. Shelters are noisy, crowded, zero privacy, sometimes unsafe. Cars may be cramped, but they provide a minimum threshold of personal space. You can lock the door, retain autonomy, pretend to live a normal life, shave, drink coffee, listen to news. Cars let people escape the homeless label, but precisely because of this, they become invisible in statistical blind spots. Government counts mainly target streets and shelters. People in cars aren't on the radar. They exist in an awkward middle layer, not desperate enough to get help, far from stable. Imagine a 58-year-old retiree with a paid-off SUV, medical bills skyrocket, medication costs double. Sold the small apartment only to find rent eats up most of the retirement check. The car becomes the only option. Wake up every day in the library parking lot. Wash up with bottled water. Use the rearview mirror to fix your appearance. Look no different from others during the day. At night, only the sound of rain on the car roof reminds you. This is the norm, no longer temporary. An elderly Seattle couple sold their house, rent a storage unit for belongings, sleep in their SUV themselves. At least we're still together, still have a door we can close. The garage has become 21st century America's cozy nest. Society defines them as unsheltered, but actually they found the only refuge that doesn't need government approval, doesn't require rent, doesn't need to see the landlord's face. It's just that everyone wants to look away from this refuge, including those living in it. When more and more micro-dwellings appear in every corner of the city, this is no longer personal hardship. It's an entire class disappearing from social view, right beside us, yet unseen. Dimension 3. The unintended consequences of policy. Clean up the city sounds righteous. But in 2025 America, it's an operations manual for driving people out of sight. June 2024, the Supreme Court made it official. Cities have the right to fine people sleeping outside. Tents got torn down, parks restored to cleanliness, media cheered, order returns. But where did those tens of thousands of people go? They didn't disappear, they just moved from sidewalks into four-wheeled mobile tents. Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, tent cities became car cities. The only change is visual. No eyesore tents. Cities look more respectable. San Francisco data. 2022 to 2024, RVs and cars used as dwellings exploded 37%. Timing corresponds with anti-camping law implementation. Drive around at night. Costco parking lots. Park edges lined with rows of dark cars. No lights, no sounds. But inside are people holding their breath through every night. The essence of the problem. Policy doesn't ask, why are they homeless? Only asks how to get them out of sight. Treating symptoms, not causes. The government report card reads, street camping down 20%, but doesn't mention 15% sleeping in cars, 5% forced to leave the city. Streets are clean, but what about hearts? The problem's been transferred, hidden, repackaged. A 63-year-old San Diego woman describes the perfect vicious cycle. Police knocked on my tent saying I can't sleep there. I got in my car thinking it was solved. Now city enforcement is ticketing me for parking too long. Where am I supposed to go? Can't lie down, can't park, can't stay. Under these rules, people are trained to become urban ninjas, sleep without lights on, move parking spots every 2 hours, find places with free Wi-Fi. Google Maps becomes a survival tool, 24-hour Walmart becomes a benefit. Ironic, right? Americans too poor to sleep on streets get fined. Poor people with cars get upgraded to vehicularly housed homeless. Sounds much more respectable, doesn't it? Most terrifying. When laws define the forms and locations where poverty can exist, we witness a new social management technique being born. Car dwelling is no longer abnormal. It's a tacitly permitted, normalized solution. Behind every car sitting still in the darkness, there's not just a temporary refugee. There's a new social class taking shape. Dimension 4. The new class of middle-class collapse. Homeless people with cars. The concept itself is contradictory, absurd as five-star slums. But this is 2025 America's reality. A group of people, not poor enough to get aid, not rich enough to keep shelter. They're called in-between homeless, the batch that fell through the social safety net. No tents, no relief stations, no signs. Have steady jobs, smartphones, basic health insurance. It's just that at night their bedroom is an SUV back seat. Los Angeles survey report. The car-dwelling demographic profile shatters assumptions. Don't touch drugs, have formal jobs, don't want to trouble society. They're just squeezed to the margins by economic structures. Data. 50% have full-time jobs, 33% are over 50, a significant portion used to own homes. Until rent jumped, chronic disease medication costs spiraled out of control, unexpected bills shattered fragile balance. Cars transformed from transportation to last safety net. Not because someone's rescuing them. They're barely hanging on through self-rescue. San Jose software tester story. After his company went under, the only asset he kept was his 2012 Toyota Camry. Sell the car? Then I'd have nowhere to live at all. Every evening after 7 p.m., drives to a quiet corner of an industrial zone. Wakes at 5:30 a.m., showers at a 24-hour gym, monthly fee cheaper than rent, buys coffee at a gas station, takes on gig work. At least the car door has a lock. At least this is my space. Shelter? Not even privacy. This is how dignity is protected. The paradox is heartbreaking. Precisely because they have a car, officials don't classify them as urgently homeless. No aid, no records, not seen. They're like non-fatal bugs in system code. Don't affect operations, so they're shelved. But how long can a bug last? Until the car breaks down, gas tank empties. That moment they plunge into the abyss of completely homeless. The quip, home sweet home, becomes car sweet car. Not a joke. Living proof that in contemporary America, one rent hike or one illness is enough to make all life stability instantly collapse. The question is, does society actually help them get back up? Or coldly watch and wait until they hit rock bottom before extending a helping hand? When the former middle class is forced into car dwelling, this isn't personal tragedy. It's an alarm bell ringing at every front door. Dimension 5. Signals of systemic collapse. Do you feel it? 2025 America's air carries an eerie quality. Not political turmoil or economic recession, but something more insidious. Cars transforming from transportation tools into housing substitutes. Federal report numbers are cold and shocking. On one night in 2024, 771,480 people in homeless status, exploding 18% year over year, the highest point on record. On the surface, it's just statistics. But if you drive late at night past Walmart or suburban parks and see rows of darkened vehicles, you understand. Those aren't tourist RVs, they're Americans' temporary housing. Because they truly have nowhere else to go. Why specifically 2025? All negative factors formed a perfect storm. Rent continuing its out-of-control rise. Wage growth nearly stagnant. Supreme Court ruling giving cities eviction power. Traditional middle-class safety margins completely devoured. Affordable housing progressing slower than last century's public transit. Multiple pressures. Costs surplus regulations tighten, plus confidence collapses. Cars become an entire generation's transitional solution. Not necessarily poor, just can't find affordable shelter. A 60-year-old Oregon electrician says, used to think homeless people were drug addicts and unemployed folks. Then sold my house to pay medical debt. Now sleep in my Ford F-150, but still wear my work clothes to construction sites every day. Don't use drugs, not unemployed, don't want sympathy. Just normal life is now priced like a luxury item. One night, parked under a gas station's neon lights, radio playing strong economic data growth. He laughs. Maybe the economy really is good, just has nothing to do with me. What's truly scary isn't the 771,000 number. It's the state of normalization. When media uses new trend to describe it, government says at least they're not sleeping on streets. Community residents gradually get used to overnight vehicles and parking lots. At that moment, the American dream officially announces entry into a downward cycle. An online comment got reposted hundreds of thousands of times. America, land of the free. More accurately, land of free parking. This is no longer a fringe phenomenon. It's a symptom of system fracture. Stability becomes a luxury commodity. Cars become the last life raft. The country that once promised the world everyone gets a chance to start over now has hundreds of thousands redefining life from a car trunk. Don't think it's just a West Coast big city problem or only affects young people. When housing becomes an unattainable luxury, when cars become necessary shelter, nobody's truly safe. Dimension 6. Possible future scenarios. Thought experiment. Imagine some morning in 2030, you drive to work past a parking lot and see a brand new sign. Car residential area, monthly rent $200. Sounds like dystopian sci-fi, but if current trends continue, it's not, will it happen? It's, when will it happen? Rent keeps climbing, wages stay put, policy keeps tightening public spaces, affordable housing projects still on paper after 5 years of approval processes. So car dwelling evolves from emergency measure to long-term lifestyle, even gains some kind of official legitimacy. By then, America might see formal, mobile residential communities, designated special parking zones collecting management fees, equipped with basic sanitation facilities, providing mailing addresses. Sounds humane, right? In essence, it's packaging systemic failure as innovative housing solutions. Because cars became home, everything you took for granted deteriorates. No fixed address means can't find good jobs. No property deed means can't get loans. No legal residence proof means can't register for health insurance. Car can't be parked long-term or you get tickets. Car breaks down and you don't even have a roof. An elderly woman in Berkeley participating in the Safe Parking program said something heartbreaking. I have government-approved parking permission, but the night the storm came they still made me leave. Sitting in the car watching rain hit the windshield, suddenly understood. Even like this, still don't have a real home. The irony is we might beautify this phenomenon with cool terms like flexible living or mobile lifestyle. Just like Silicon Valley calls layoffs workforce optimization, it's whitewashing systemic collapse. If the trend continues, we'll see large patches of wheeled residential communities emerging around major cities, with their own social networks, survival rules, and cultural symbols. A parallel America existing outside official statistics, in mainstream society's blind spot. Imagine someday in the future grandkids ask, "Grandpa, Grandma, why did so many people live in cars in your time?" How would you answer? Well, child, it wasn't a choice. We were chosen. Sounds like dark humor, might be the description closest to truth. When real estate became speculative product, not residential product. When homes on wheels redraw America's social map. We're changing not just living arrangements, but our entire concept of stability. If you can live anywhere, does there still exist a place worth belonging to? This crisis isn't just documentary footage material about homeless people. It's a mirror reflecting the future we all might face. A future where the line between freedom and survival is as thin as a car window. Conclusion: a choice in a moment of clarity. In 2025, what's truly unsettling isn't the statistics, it's collective numbness. When parking lots quietly become residential zones, when car AC sounds gradually replace traditional home fan sounds, we're witnessing a historic contraction. The American dream shrinking from detached houses to apartment units, now further condensed to a car backseat just big enough for one person to lie down. Maybe you've never experienced sleeping in a car, but if you need to stress about rent every month, wince at rising gas prices, worry about your kid's future, then the distance between you and car dwellers might just be one unexpected job loss, one sudden illness, one landlord's rent increase notice. The only difference? Right now you're holding keys that open a fixed residence. They're only holding ignition switches. The ultimate question isn't how many people live in cars. It's what kind of society do we want to live in? Continue to tacitly accept this structural collapse, or face the problem and seek real solutions. Now it's your turn to speak up. What do you think about this phenomenon? Is car dwelling the ultimate expression of individual freedom, or a warning signal of a broken social contract? Comments section awaits your perspective. If this content moved you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Every week, you and I together, with independent perspective and human warmth, decode the overlooked truths of American society. Final disclaimer: this video is based on publicly available data and reliable sources, aimed at information dissemination and social discussion, not targeting any individual or organization. The sole goal is helping everyone see the reality that's unfolding. Because sometimes understanding America's true face doesn't require looking up at Wall Street skyscrapers or studying Silicon Valley innovation reports. Just notice, in the deep quiet of night, those cars parked silently in the shadows. Inside them is this era's most silent testimony. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.